Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And when you think of the great voices in rock history, one name that is on everyone's list is John Waite. From the Babies to Bad English to his solo work, his career has had hits across multiple decades. And he's kind enough to take some time today and talk about it all. Welcome, John Waite.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm in lockdown, so I'm doing laundry. So I'm gonna my sheets are in the dryer, so you know. I'm just,
the glamorous life of a rock star.
You know, off stage it pretty much is. It's like the same for everyone, really, especially now. You know.
Well, and that's where we'll start. I mean, with the quarantine out, first of all, you and your family healthy? Everyone doing well?
Yeah, no. Everybody's just. We're being very careful. You know, I mean, if I go out to the store and I, mask up and I take some hand sanitizer and I only make it a brief visit, but pretty much 23 hours of my day are spent inside. So I make the hour outside. I try and exercise as much as I can, but it's tough now, you know.
Yeah. And, talk a little bit about music. I mean, your last solo record was a while ago, 2011's amazing Rough and Tumble. A great record.
Thank you.
Any chance that, and you've had some live stuff, and, the great acoustic record came out, a couple of years back, but any chance of new studio music in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm always writing. I'm always thinking about music and, bits of lyric words you read in a book. Something you might read on the headlines of the New York Times. I mean, anything comes at you just out of the blue, and it could be in a dream. But I have stacks of notebooks in my room, in my condo. And it's just a case of finding that one song that cuts through the ice and makes it sort of like the flagship for the rest of the record. You need two songs to do it. You need to get the first one up. It's like what you're really trying to say. And then another song that's like it's in harmony with it, that doesn't sound like it. And from that point on, the songs just fall out of the sky. But I'm always looking for that one song. I mean, Dylan's last song, I Am Multitudes, was pretty intense and pretty much where my head's at. I mean, it's like, the older you get, you realize that you're connected to everything. And that the past is with us all the time. The future isn't here yet, but it's all one. It's very mystical. But like things like Dylan coming out with that, you go like, yeah. And so you're always looking for that one key. And once I find that key, I'll be studio. But you can't really go looking for it. You can force it sometimes, with the deadline. If you're under contract and you have an album to deliver, and somebody says, we have to have this in 3 months, you'd be surprised how inspired you get. It's just, what your job is, as Pete Townsend used to say. And, but it could happen tomorrow. It could be happening today. But, with lockdown, I've got a lot of time to think about it,
And, you mentioned how when you're under contract with the record company, you have to have record out, every year, every 2 years, whatever.
Yeah.
With sort of the change in the music business, do you find it a little more liberating that you kind of can take your time and search for that song and a lot of that label pressure is off?
Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think like with Rough and Tumble, that came out on Universal. I made the record and played it to them, and they put it out. It was just a case of, like, I went to them to say, do you want to put this in the stores? And it was very successful. We had #1 single at Classic Rock Radio, and away we went. It didn't make any difference at all to sales because we're in that age of the internet. And record sales are now really a thing of the past unless you're aiming for an audience that's very young that buy records, or country artists. Sometimes you spend, they buy records down there. But it's not the same way. I mean, it's like I said about Dylan. You put the record out, and a week later, people have moved on to something else.
Right, it's all about that first week pre-order.
Yeah, but it doesn't have any staying power.
Right.
People can it's like a big flash.
Mm-hmm.
People go like, Jesus Christ, a new Dylan song?
Mm-hmm.
It put one out a month before. Fantastic, you know? And but then it's gone. So you don't make those records anymore to get in the ring with the big boys.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you just work at the speed you want, and the following that you've got is looking for you to be the best you can be. And as far as deadlines, I think they can be suicide. You know, for bad English, it was suicide.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, a year after releasing that record and being on the road all the time, it's like somebody rings up and says, we have to have the record for summer, or everything we've done doesn't mean anything. And, you know, you'd bite that hook and you go in and you realize that it's almost an impossible thing to do. But it's business as well as music. The only thing that's wrong with the music business is the business.
Right. And it changes so much. I think, you know, trying to keep up with. I mean, do you ever get to a point where you think, well, why am I putting out a 10-song record? Why not release singles? I mean, do you kind of go through that thought process at all?
Yeah, I think I'm more aligned with the idea of an EP. Mm-hmm. I mean, the last couple of things I've put out were acoustic records called Wooden Heart, and there's Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 is 4 songs. It's an EP, and I knocked it out in like a day and a half, or even a day. I think a day and a half with mixing. And the second one was like 15 songs, I think, that were songs that I loved from my past records, acoustic, or I recut Missing You, Unplugged. I did a few things. Did a Donovan song and put it all. That took about 2.5 days. So I think I can be in the studio thinking I can do something that's on a footing with something I've done before. If it's an EP, I think once you get past that halfway point, you're wondering what you're doing in the studio. So you got to have more time. But I think you can do a very inspired four song sort of saute. You know, you can go in there and get it in a week, and it can be really very good work.
And I think that also sort of lends itself a little better because you're always touring. And if you put out, you know, an EP with a couple of songs, it's easier to kind of work those into the set than you know, if you have a much longer record.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, people do, especially when you've got a history like me, you have I think it's like a 45-year career or something insane, but 40-year. But I mean, you have people that like the Babies, you have people that would only listen to the solo stuff, people who got the bad English stuff, people who didn't like the bad English stuff. You have all these people, but I choose a set list around the songs that I like. I've never written a song or gone into the studio trying to write for the audience. If I'm trying to write something that's accessible, I'm still writing it for myself. I can't be bothered getting into the ring with all those writers that write big singles, pop singles. And I think some of the most genuine music, or nearly all the genuine music, isn't written like that, you know.
And do you still enjoy touring? I mean, you still do quite a bit of dates, you know. Does it still feel something when you get up on stage and play those songs? It's never gone. Watch I enjoy reaction.
I enjoy it more now than I ever did, because I mean, I probably know what I'm doing more, and my voice is stronger, and you have more of an affinity for the craft bit, and you have more empathy, I think, for the people in the audience, and to grow up, and so the work changes, but it does get better.
And what does it feel to you when people come up and tell you what your music has meant in their lives? And again, each of your variations, from the Babies or solo or bad English, really strikes a chord with different people. I mean, what does it feel for you as an artist when someone comes and says, yeah, this song, you know, stuck with me through my whole life?
Well, I used to be kind of embarrassed a bit. You know, I could never take a compliment. And I think my basic nature was very shy as a younger person. But now I've learned to accept a compliment. If somebody comes up and says that, I really listen. And I really do try and have a conversation with them, not just like, thanks, man, and walk away. if it meant that much to them, it should mean that much to me. And we do this meet and greet thing on the road, and I try to spend at least 5 minutes with each person that comes, at least, you know, and most people just wheel them through. But it means a lot to me, that connection with the audience, because it means somebody understood what I was doing. And in life, if you have somebody that understands anything about you, you're ahead of the game. So if my audience like what I'm putting out, I owe it to them to show up and be present, you know, and be available.
And, you know, you had a couple of dates scheduled and naturally are canceled in May and going forward. I mean, do you have any, you know, have you heard anything from the venues or anything like that as to...
Oh, everybody's moving dates.
Scheduled. Yeah.
Everybody's moving dates to the new year. We're supposed to go to Holland and possibly Germany, I think in September or October. I've forgotten. But I don't even know if that's still on. But in the papers every day, you see this thing now about there might be a law against any more than 10 people congregating in a confined space, which tells you pretty much that it's all over. And all the tours will be cancelled, I think, this year. And rightfully so. If we don't get on top of this thing, it could end up being like your worst nightmare, like somebody dropped the atomic bomb. If we don't get the chain of like fresh water, food, education for kids, care for homes, for elderly people, if we don't take care of ourselves right now in the future, and people are just running around outside with no masks on, like I don't care, you know, it's all a hoax. I mean, it's almost ironic and funny and terrible. You know, it's all these things at once, but we should try and really get through this next couple of months and then come out swinging. If you don't contain this thing, it's not Democrat and it's not Republican. It's a virus, you know.
Yeah, there's no point to coming back if it's all going to just start up over again. So who knows?
Well, they said there's going to be a resurgence.
Yeah, I've heard in the fall.
Yeah.
Now, and getting back to some music and a little brighter subjects, I suppose, or maybe not. But, you know, again, looking back on your past, you know, there was a thing going around the last couple of years of a version of the Babies getting back together. You know, have you ever had any interest in getting back into that, or
no, not
English, or is it moving forward?
No, it's just, I think when you reach the end of something like that, you've really, I mean, I certainly did the best I could. It's not like I was holding back any kind of, wasn't holding back. I never do. You know, I was giving it my best shot with the Babies and that English. And once you've done that, I can't see, you know, I just can't see going back and saying, where were we? You know, there's a reason to stop. And the Babies stopped. But if the other guys want to tinker with that and go ahead with it, that's up to them. You know, the past is the past. You know.
And you have a really strong band that you've been working with, you know, for the past few years on tour and all of that. So if you do get into recording more, will it be with this band?
Yeah, but I mean, I was thinking about changing instrumentation. I was thinking about going in with slightly different instruments. Because I never use piano, really. I think it's in the same space as the vocal. And if it's not a really clever piano player, it gets in the way. I've always been about the guitar. But I was thinking about moving the instruments around and seeing what I could come up with. So that might happen. But if not, I would use my guys,
Well, okay. I mean, I'm a fan of the Wooden Heart records, the acoustic
thank
stuff.
You.
But, you know, the idea, I think, of hearing your voice with a solo piano on something, I think would be really special. So I got to
I'm coming around to that. You know, thanks. You know, I wake up in the morning and every morning I make some black coffee and put on Bill Evans, the keyboard player. And I listen to Bill Evans or Eric Satie, you know, classical. But I mean, I'm starting to respond to the keyboard in a different way because I'm hearing it played differently, not in a rock way, you know. And therein lies something interesting for me, you know. I don't want to just come out and do straight rock stuff with keyboards. It doesn't really work for me.
Right. I mean, you find what fits in your face and fits the song.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Well, John, I can't thank you enough for taking some time here
well, God
today.
Bless you.
It's good to hear from you. Glad to hear you're healthy. We'll look for you on the road. Hopefully when you get out to the East
you're
Coast.
in Connecticut, right? You're in Connecticut?
Yep, I'm just outside of Hartford, so we're in New York and Boston for shows a lot. So definitely catch you at some point in the future.
Oh, that's great, man. Well, thank you. Nice talking to you. And,
you as well, John.
All the best to your family and stay well.
You too. Thank you.
God bless. Bye-bye.